Years after leaving her, the CEO walked into her cafe. He wasn't supposed to be here. He wasn't supposed to exist in her world anymore. Yet there he stood, tailored suit clinging perfectly to his broad shoulders. Eyes that once held her entire universe, now scanning the little place she had built with trembling hands and sleepless nights. And then it happened. Her little girl, sitting at the counter with a sketchbook full of uneven flowers, looked up, saw him, and with the innocence of a child who knew nothing of heartbreak or betrayal, whispered a single word that shattered the air, "Daddy." The room went silent. Cups clinked a little too loudly, customers glanced curiously, and her heart, her heart, beat like a drum she couldn't control. She wanted to scream, to run, to hide her daughter behind the counter. But she froze, trapped between the past she had tried to bury and the present she had built with her bare hands. He turned, and for a moment the mask of the powerful CEO slipped. His lips parted, his eyes widened, and in that second he was not the ruthless businessman the world feared, but the man who had once promised her forever before walking away when forever got too heavy. She clenched the rag in her hands until her knuckles turned white. She had to say something, but what could she say? Welcome back. Or maybe, how dare you? Instead, she managed only a tight smile and whispered to her daughter, "Sweetheart, why don't you go finish your drawing in the back?" But her daughter shook her head, staring at him with a kind of recognition that made her chest ache. The cafe door closed softly behind the last customer. Now it was just the three of them. Her, the man who broke her, and the little girl who unknowingly tied them together forever. She had met him years ago, before the titles, before the boardrooms, before the endless walls of glass and steel. Back then, he was just a dreamer with big ideas, and she was the one who believed in him when no one else did. She gave him her time, her laughter, her youth, her love. But success has sharp teeth, and somewhere between late nights chasing deals and promises of just a little longer, he forgot her. No, worse. He chose ambition over her, leaving her with nothing but a broken heart and a secret she carried silently, the child growing inside her. The nights after he left were cruel. She had nothing. No family to lean on, no savings to keep her afloat. She worked 3 jobs, carrying trays until her feet bled, folding clothes until her back gave out, and all the while a little life kicked inside her, reminding her that giving up was not an option. That baby, her daughter, became her reason. And when she finally saved enough to buy this cafe, she poured her soul into it. Every chair was painted by her hands, every recipe tested late into the night, while her daughter slept in a cot behind the counter. It wasn't just a cafe. It was proof that she had survived. Proof that she had built something, even after he left her in the ruins. Now, as he stood there, she wondered if he could see all of that. Or if he only saw what he wanted, the child who had his eyes, his stubborn chin, his very blood running through her veins. He took a step closer, his voice breaking the silence. "Is she mine?" Her throat tightened. She wanted to deny it, to shield her daughter from the storm she knew would come with him. But lying wasn't in her. She had raised her girl to know the truth, to live it, no matter how hard it was. "Yes," she said, the word heavy, final, undeniable. He staggered back slightly, as though she had struck him. His gaze fell to the little girl, now scribbling in her sketchbook again, unaware of the weight of the moment. His hand trembled, but he tucked it quickly into his pocket, trying to look composed. "I should have known," he whispered. Her chest burned. "But you didn't. You walked away?" And just like that, the dam of years broke. Anger, heartbreak, and longing all twisted inside her as memories flooded back. The nights she cried herself to sleep, the mornings she forced herself up because her baby needed her, the countless times she wondered if he thought about her at all. He tried to speak, but she cut him off, her voice trembling but firm. "You don't get to walk back in here and just claim her. You left. I raised her. Alone." He looked at her then, not as a CEO, not as the man who had power at his fingertips, but as someone filled with regret. "I was wrong. I thought I had to choose success, and I thought if I had that, I could come back for you one day. But when I finally looked around, it was too late. I had everything, but I was empty, and now I see why." Her eyes stung, but she wouldn't let herself crumble. Not now. She had fought too hard to stand. The girl looked up again, holding out her sketchbook proudly to him. "Do you like my drawing, Daddy?" she asked. So innocently, so joyfully, unaware of the storm brewing above her head. And in that single moment something shifted. She saw it in his eyes. The CEO was gone. The father, the man he could have been, the man she once loved, stood there trembling, tears threatening to fall as he knelt down beside the child who unknowingly had been waiting for him all her life. The cafe smelled faintly of cinnamon and coffee. The afternoon sun poured through the windows. And though nothing was resolved, though years of pain couldn't vanish in a single heartbeat, a door had opened. The question now wasn't whether he could step inside. It was whether she would let him. The days after that encounter felt like living in a storm she couldn't control. Every morning, she braced herself for the sound of the cafe door opening, half expecting him to walk in again. And he did. Not once, not twice, but almost every day. Always in his sharp suits, always carrying the weight of a man who had the world but feared he had lost what truly mattered. At first, she ignored him. She took orders from customers, wiped counters, and busied herself with every little task just to keep her hands from trembling. But he didn't leave. He would sit at the same table in the corner, sipping black coffee, the drink he used to say he couldn't live without back when she made it for him in tiny, cluttered apartments. Her daughter, though, welcomed him without hesitation. Children are like that. They don't carry the heavy chains of betrayal. They don't remember the slammed doors or the silent nights. They just see love where love could be. Every afternoon, she would climb into his lap, chatter about school, show him her sketches, and laugh in ways that broke her heart because it reminded her of the man she once knew. She wanted to protect her daughter, but she also couldn't deny the joy in her child's eyes. And that terrified her more than anything. One evening, after the cafe had closed and the chairs were flipped onto tables, he stayed behind. He had been patient, careful not to push her too much. But that night, he finally spoke the words she had avoided hearing. "Please, let me explain." She wanted to walk away, but something in his tone made her stop. She sighed, folding her arms tightly. "What is there to explain? You left. That's the whole story." His voice was quiet, almost fragile. "I left because I was afraid. Afraid of not being enough, afraid of failing. I thought I had to prove myself first. And by the time I realized what I had thrown away, you were gone. I told myself it was too late, but when I saw her, when she called me Daddy, it was like being given a second chance I don't deserve." Her chest ached. She wanted to scream at him, to tell him second chances don't come with broken promises. But her daughter's laughter from the back room softened her. This wasn't just about her anymore. It hadn't been for years. "You don't get to just waltz back into her life and pretend you've been here all along," she said sharply, her voice breaking. "Do you know how many birthdays she waited by the window, asking if her daddy was coming? Do you know how many times I told her stories to fill the gap you left behind? I built this life without you, and I won't let you hurt her." He nodded, tears finally slipping down his face. For the first time, the man who commanded boardrooms looked utterly powerless. "Then let me earn it. Not from you, though God knows I want that too, but from her. Let me be her father. I'll wait. I'll prove myself. I'll take whatever you'll give me, even if it's just a chance to be near her." She stared at him, torn between the wounds of the past and the possibility of healing. He was right. He didn't deserve it. But her daughter did. Her little girl deserved a father who would try, who would show up, who would kneel down and listen to her dreams. And so, against every fear, against every scar, she said quietly, "We'll see. But one mistake. Just one. And you're gone. Do you understand?" He nodded, and for the first time in years, she saw something in his eyes she hadn't dared to hope for: sincerity. The weeks that followed were slow and tentative. He showed up, not as a CEO, but as a man learning to braid hair badly, to sit through school plays, to burn pancakes on Saturday mornings. He was awkward, often unsure, but he tried. And every time their daughter's laughter filled the cafe, she found her walls cracking, piece by piece. One night, after putting their daughter to bed, she stood by the cafe window, watching the streetlights blur against the glass. He joined her, standing a few feet away. "You built something incredible here," he said softly. "Not just the cafe, us." She turned to him, her eyes tired but softer now. "I built it because I had no choice, because I couldn't depend on anyone." He met her gaze, voice steady. "Then let me be the one you can depend on now. I don't expect forgiveness overnight, but I'll spend the rest of my life trying to earn it." Her heart wavered. She didn't give him an answer, not yet. But as their daughter stirred in her sleep and murmured, "Daddy," with a smile, she realized something. Life doesn't always give us the story we planned. Sometimes it gives us shattered beginnings, broken promises, and years of silence. But sometimes, just sometimes, It gives us the courage to start again. And though her heart was still healing, she knew they had been given another chance. Not to erase the past, but to write something new, something stronger, something worth holding on to.